Now we're starting at the Stoner Circle fucking podcast. I don't know how I should introduce it yet. Still, maybe I could be fake about it, like a real fake streamer. I was telling Crow, maybe I'll introduce
like
it like
a real big streamer.
A real fake. You already know. Hey guys, please give me money.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Today's episode is brought to you by me being hungry
and not wanting to pay for my bills anymore. God, I wish. Anyways, Necro here, or Cynical Graybeard.
Both.
Necro is. I hate to repeat myself from last time, but I personally view Necro as a philosopher and a scholar. And
I would say the same about you, though.
well, thank you. Necro, I would say, like, the reason I enjoy Necro so much as well is his passion and his undivided attention to his passions once he decides to pursue something. And the reason I say like passions and stuff is because, and this was like Crow said last time, like achievements and stuff are gonna be subjective to whoever you are. But when I say passion, I mean like you strive to make quotations achievements that make you happy as a person. Like you're not driven by like an actual like material kind of, you know, a Disney fucking world belief or some shit. Like you're a hardened person who's been through, I'm sure, a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, and, I would call myself an extremely optimistic pessimist.
And that's really awesome of you, though, because it's hard to be optimistic. It's hard to find people like you out there who have like literally had to roll through the shit. And I'm not trying to say that like, oh, Necro, yeah, it's so bad or whatever, but like when you know what it's like to struggle, you know what it's like to struggle, and to come out of that with
this is a true story. I once had a meth head say, no matter how fucked up his life is, at least he ain't me.
Fucking Jesus. But you know what I mean? Like it's so hard to come from that and to remain humble. So I'm trying to say this as in like an introduction to you, because a good host would have like, you know, he would know his guest or whatever, or at least some of their accomplishments.
Yeah, no, I feel seen right now. Trust me.
Right, yeah, and honestly, like the only thing I could really add to that is like we are kind of in the same boat of like it's not like keeping it real goes wrong or whatever, but we've always we're the kind of people who, like you are anyways, the kind of person who's always had like your own standards of remaining true to yourself and what that's meant to you, but again, like weathered through bullshit that could turn other people hateful and bitter. And you constantly like seek knowledge, constantly, like even with things you love. Like you don't love debating like you may have at one point, but I could say now that you love a debate for the sense of learning, not for the sense of being right, you know?
Yeah, the only reason I really like to argue is to learn from it.
And honestly, like regardless of anything, like I don't like other streamers. I don't like real streamers or whatever. And like we met through like, you know, you had your acid time or whatever with Worm.
Yeah.
And but
yeah, and you had the best fucking economic explanation for it though. Like I still remember it because it blew my fucking mind because I knew immediately that you were right. And I'm like it's almost like there's a blue book on what goes on the streets, and you were reading it to me because this motherfucker. I was like, I don't even know how I got acid because acid don't end up here. Like I'm in the middle of fuck nowhere. It's like corn and police. That's what I'm surrounded by. And
not the band.
And I'm like, no. And I'm like, how did LSD get here? And fucking Elm fucking goes, you see what happened was all these party drugs get made for all these outdoor festivals and concerts and private events, and then COVID happened and all these motherfuckers still got shelves full of drugs. It's got to go somewhere, so it just got pushed into the country, and it made as much money as it could until it finally ended up on your doorstep for free. And I was like, God damn. That was Black Market Economics 101, everybody. Professor Elm.
I was just going through that resolution myself because I was like, Itchy had gotten a bunch of good acid for so cheap. And I'm like, bro, there's no way this is real acid. Back in my day, blah, blah. And then, like, I tried it and I'm tripping balls. I'm like, this is real acid and stuff. And then I just had to put it together in my head. I'm like, oh, duh. But yeah, you came in when I'm already, because I was fucking fighting about it. I'm like, bro, there were so many people around me. I'm like, there's no way you have this. And they're like, bro, I got it. And I'm like, But anyways.
Bro. And then, like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, I was watching Worm. I want to finish the story
Oh,
and then
yeah,
we
yeah,
can
you're
get back
fine.
to the questions. So I was watching Worm online streams because in my LSD tripped out mind, I had caused some drama within the Shroud of the Avatar community. Only with shitty people, though. Like, everybody that's good over there was like, no, this Necro guy's great. So, I mean, some of them like me.
Some of them.
But so I'm like, I caused some drama, and the LSD coursing through my veins and brain had caused me to think, I know what I'll do. I'll hop on Twitch and I'll go hide in another online games community. Now that logic makes no sense, but in my mind, it was perfect. And I found this dude who's really red. Like, it may have been the acid, it may have been him. He was red. This guy was red, and he had a really thick accent, Australian, New Zealand, and he took numbers and other people too seriously.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He was not talking about anything he was doing. He had no chill, and at a point, he stopped even sounding like he was speaking to me, and all I was hearing was, it was like, if you could picture a harmonica with an Australian accent, that's what I was hearing.
Fucking A.
So
I liked that dude,
like,
honestly.
And Elm shows up in his chat, and everything Elm said, because at this point, I'm barely able to understand this man. Even though he's speaking perfect, fluent English, I'm on drugs. But Elm shows up in his chat and starts just throwing out fucking, like, I do drugs, I'm a bad person, you know, I'm from the wrong side of the tracks, you don't want to talk to me, LOL, shit like that. So I'm laughing my balls off and, like, chatting back and forth with him, and then I notice that he's gone live. He's not just chatting. So I go watch for a second, and I hear hip hop, and then I see a bong, and then I see that setup behind him with all the fucking, like, tapestries and fucking shit on the wall there behind him. And I'm like, bro, is this guy in my house? and then I start listening to him talk, and I'm like, bro, did we grow up in the same ghetto? And then he's like, I'm from New York. And I'm like, oh, okay, so he's less patient than me. That's about, and I'm like, so I'm in his chat, just like, straight up, like, I telling him everything I'm saying right now, but at the same time blowing smoke up his ass because I'm trying to get in his Discord, and I can tell he's too cool for me. And then he's like, you know what? He's on acid. Fuck it. Let's let him in here. And then the funniest shit happens, right? The funniest shit happens. I'm like, all right, I'll install this game and help you guys build your cult dungeon.
Right. Yeah.
And we're just rambling at each other. Not even fucking making points. We're just like, hey, here's a cool story. Hey, here's a cool story. Hey, here's a cool story. And then I'm like, so what can I do to help out? And fucking Elm goes, I don't know. And then hands me over to Itchy, takes me down into the dungeon, and goes, all right, equip a pickaxe. Look up. You see that? That's a ceiling. And you're going to flatten it. So I don't know how many hours I spent flattening that ceiling, but I do know that I spent most of an entire LSD trip just fucking chewing the fat at these motherfuckers, and I barely remember anything but the beginning and how I ended by fishing in Shroud of the Avatar for 12 hours with a guy that was dressed like a ballerina with a blood spurting stump instead of a head and had an umbrella on the whole time.
Uh, it was a good time, all right.
Oh yeah, I had a blast. So yeah, I consider you also a philosopher and a scholar.
See, now I'm lost to what I was gonna dredge back to. Oh, so what I was gonna say from all that, Necro, was that I have a problem. We've talked about this. If I'm not streaming, I fucking am usually just watching something or doing something because I have a weird problem. And this goes for like Zatran too, because I do enjoy Zatran. But the thing about Necro as well is like I don't like streamers or whatever, but if I did sit there and watch streams, and sometimes I have at points or whatever, but Necro is the kind of dude that like is the streamer I'm gonna go chill and I'm gonna leave it on when I'm like doing shit or whatever, and like I'm not trying to say that as like, oh, I can give you the highest honor I can bestow someone, but like I don't like streams all that much.
The Elm Gresham Medal of Honor.
Yeah, but the thing is I'm just a weirdo too, because if I'm sitting here chilling, I turn the stream on. So like there's never points when I'm fucking sitting there and I'm just like oh, let's just go and chill with Necro or like Zatran or someone. Cause I never even fucking look, you know. I'm like, I'm gonna go fucking hang out, and then like when I get off, I'm already like, all right, I've got an hour or two before I go to bed. I'm gonna watch this show I'm getting through or whatever, you know. So that's nothing against anybody, cause I know I'm never fucking usually around. But like Necro again is the only kind of dude, the kind of streams that I would chill with. I love chilling with like cats and shit as well, but that's just cause cats is so fucking nice to me. Like, I don't know, fucking Cats is the shit. Cats has a really enjoyable voice as well, or whatever. If you want to get on some ASMR shit.
Oh,
well,
I see what Giorgio said in chat. Took a strong gummy
God. Well, you gotta find one of those games, Jer, that you can play with the one. Well, you won't even want it. You gotta find a good show. Put on the Wall by Pink. I'm just kidding. Don't. So, anyways, what I was gonna say also earlier, Necros, we haven't even started the questions yet.
Yeah, I mean that's us. That is us.
What's up, Gabe? So we'll start off with the first fucking question, Necro.
Welcome to Off the Rails.
It's Stoner Circle. We're just gonna keep drawing circles around the original one until we can somehow get back to the first one. Well,
then you should pluralize the circle.
Yeah. Well, that's for really quick, a fun little tidbit. Oh, Jesus, Jer, come on, don't tempt me. What a life. I've done a lot of different drugs, and one of the times I had like the biggest breakthrough quotations or epiphanies was while I was doing what some people like to call hippie crack, but nitrous with one of my friends. Nitrous was easy to get and it was legal.
Yeah, hippie crack. I like the nickname.
So, yeah, we would get some hippie crack, and we didn't hit it with balloons or whatever.
So wait, I got an idea.
All right.
I didn't mean to. I gotta interrupt you with this one. What if we call whippets yuppie crack?
It could be, but I don't know if they do it often enough. I feel like they could just afford Coke, you know.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they do though. Coke, whippets, and drinking.
Yeah, all right. I take it. I take it. So when I was doing the nitrous, sorry, I've had a lot of spiritual breakthroughs or whatever, but I had this odd visualization and feeling this one time as far as psychedelic experiences go on nitrous, and I was a bubble that popped, and I was inside of another bubble, and this was just like, I don't know, you're somehow visualizing a bubble in darkness, and to me that translated into like thought, because like my thoughts are constantly evolving into something else. Like what I thought was real, that reality is now gone, and I'm shaping a new one. So I'll just put that as reference to the stoner circle, that our bubble keeps it grows, but the last one might disappear, and whatever. It's just, and we're gonna keep going in circles until we figure out what the fuck we're talking about. Anyways, Necro, first question again. First question. I'm not going to try to label it off as questions either. I just needed to point out that we've not asked any of the questions
yet. You did
yet.
say at some point. It's like 7 questions or something.
Yeah, I've got about 7 set up. We're just gonna go through this. This is the kind of, again, I didn't do this as like as a straight, like you were saying, Daily Show questionnaire. I still want it to have a chill vibe, you know. We're still sitting here smoking and shit. Oh, damn it. That's what I even fucking forgot to ask you. You should stream me your fucking face on Discord so people can see your fucking reactions. But if you don't want it, that's completely fine.
No, I got it.
All right, let me go to this other
Orange
Discord.
hat is always... And I just got to put the lights on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're fine. Fucking 15 minutes into this shit, I totally forgot I was going to ask Necro to fucking throw his mug up. I'm a dumbass. I'm just a dumbass. But I guess it's more time to smoke. See, this is what happens when I try to make a fucking podcast about getting stoned, I guess. I was all ready. I got like my drink. I had taken the dog out. I reset it. I was like, all right, this is going to be just fine. Been 15 minutes. I haven't asked him one question I got on my tally yet. And I forgot to ask him to throw his fucking face up. But yeah, Jur, as far as oxys go, like I grew up trying a lot of different opiates and shit, but I will say, in my opinion, like a medicated prescribed Oxycontin is one of the cleanest. Like an Oxy 30 is my milligram currently, if I could choose. But like an Oxy 30 is all I need out of fucking of my day. I'd pop it at like 11 in the morning, and then fucking do yoga and work out through the day. But Jesus. Yeah, you've grown a huge tolerance, I'm sure. But when that first time comes and you could feel it, as long as it's actually taking your pain away, and it's as if it's not fucking, if you're not sitting there actually producing a fucking habit-forming repeated action where you're like, well, I like this feeling too much.
All right, let's hope this fucking camera doesn't need completely realigned on the tripod.
Sorry, I fucking forgot to ask.
No, it's all good. It only takes a couple of minutes to set up. I'm just gonna make sure the light on the backside is pointing in the right spot. I like it, but I hate it.
The thing I'll say, Jer, because I know I said it to you before, where I don't view cannabis as an actual pain reliever, but I will always say just cannabis will help you not focus on the pain, but it has also been shown that cannabis can help other medications work. And even like I had some tooth pain the other day, right? And this happens all the time, dude. I had some weird shoulder pain, like this was a few years ago, and it was bad. I'm like, oh fuck, like this fucking is bothering me. I might have to go to a doctor. And I'm just like, oh yeah. And I know Necro's gonna say shit against this, but I fucking popped 3 ibuprofen. And I'm like,
oh, dude, it's fine.
But no, I'm just saying I fucking take the ibuprofen.
Oh, ibuprofen is fucking horrible.
Exactly. But I felt fucking fine afterwards. You know what I'm saying? I sometimes forget the strength of actual like medication sometimes. So I'm like, oh yeah. Because I'm not sitting here trying to pop a fucking Tylenol or whatever every time I feel like if I have a headache, I'll try to ride it out. Like I don't know, I'll drink more water and I'll try to work out and push it out of my head. But during your situation when you're having fucking real pain, especially after a fucking procedure or whatever, I'd be like, give me whatever you fucking got until I'm fucking healed.
Base.
Oh shit. I'm glad it does shit for me. Now can I pop this out?
I mean, you could like create a box or something. Like in OBS, you would create a.
I'm creating a pop-out box. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, and then you would go to, I think, be like window capture.
Oh, I could. No, we're on the double PC, so we'll just fucking. I'm good like this. I'm gonna cheat as best I can, and be cheap. You'll be down here with me.
No, I feel like I should be... Okay, hold on. I could fix that on my end. Watch this. I'll make this look good. I see what you're doing. So what I'm going to do is go transform, and I'm going to flip horizontal.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes.
Hey, he's back.
I'm back over here.
I'm like waiting to see where you drag it on your window.
I'm just throwing you in the corner with me. I'm just making you a little bigger. Okay. I can make you my size if you want.
No, that's whatever.
When I look over, though, it looks over to the left, so I'd have to flip myself, but I don't mind either way. I'm just doing this to cheat.
I mean, I can flip back, but I flipped this way because I thought it looked better.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to look like a fucking idiot now because it just looks like I'm looking over.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I got these super expensive $80 lights.
Oh yeah, mine are about $20. I got a strip of them in front of me too. They constantly change, so it looks trippy.
Stimulus money, bitch.
Here, let me see if I can. Oh no, it'd be too much to add effects. I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy, and I haven't asked any questions yet. So I'm happy with just this. Now people can see double reactions. It's just gonna look like I'm looking away from. Don't worry, I'm looking up. I
Cool.
keep
I still
looking
got
this
coffee
way.
teeth over here. Every time I laugh, I'm like,
Dude, that's what I love about
ol-
Discord, man. Is like the thing you grew up with it, I'm sure, but there's those gross friends around you and shit who'll just burp next to you and shit. You're sitting there like, oh, gross. With Discord, I used to hold my breath when people would burp. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot
there's
him.
a little spot in my mustache right there that looks thicker than the rest on camera. Like it's like it looks like I started with a toothbrush mustache and then was like, uh-oh, and then grew this later.
You shaved.
It only looks that way on cam.
You shaved that one part for like how they do the eyebrows or whatever in the hood.
I don't know why the light's doing that. It just looks like my mustache is really thin right here, and it's not. Like,
it's fine. It's fine.
I'm really bothered by it, though. Holy shit.
So, anyways, I'll finally get onto my
I'm gonna go
first.
shave this off real quick.
Let me go shave. We'll come back. I'm gonna get off to my first fucking question. What's your preferred method of ingestion? Like, how do you like to? Do you like to smoke it? Do you like to eat it? Like, what is your preferred way to smoke if you could?
Let me tell you a story about this thing I'm holding right now because I was just about to hit it.
All right.
I was a bouncer. There it is, right there.
The bat, the classic bat. What some people think is a crack pipe, like your friend.
Yeah. I've had this for a very long time. I was a bouncer, and I confiscated it from a kid who was smoking weed in the club. It was an 18 and up club. And I didn't take it from him directly. I smelled it. And then I walked along the outside of the dance floor where there's a wooden rail sort of thing that keeps, like, people can put their beers on it or whatever.
Yeah. Outside this area.
So I sort of walked along with my hand over it doing this sort of thing. Like if you've played Thief, like feeling around the outside of the painting, like, so I'm doing that and I found like this and I was like, oh fuck, and I'm like, I'm not gonna kick the kid out. I'm just gonna take his weed. And like I go out back thinking it's gonna be empty, like he already smoked it, but it was packed, like he just packed it fresh. so I smoked this fucking weed, and then I pocketed the thing. And I saw him walking around, like, looking for it, like, talking to people, throwing accusations at his friends and shit. I'm just laughing my balls off about it. And I'm like, well, this is what I smoke weed out of from now on. Like, it's got a story. It has character. Like, this is, it's not just like a fucking, and it's not a baddie, by the way. Like, it holds. Do you remember those really fat number 2 pencils you would get when you were a kid? Like, I think they called it a safety pencil.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, the big ass ones.
Like you could fit the eraser into one of those in this motherfucker.
No,
like it's a fat. It's as fat as my pinky finger.
We always called them bats up here because I had like my stepdad and my uncle fucking loved smoking out of those. For like what you're saying.
The glass blowers call this a chillum.
It is technically a chillum,
but
that's
what I've been calling it.
Yeah.
But what I actually call it a chillum +1. Like it's like a D&D artifact because it has a story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all right. I like that.
I get a +1 to my weed buzz for smoking out of this.
Crow was actually, when we were kids, he was big on glass chillums. So we had a glass shop around us, but everyone was always broke, so you would have metal pipes with the genie caps. But Crow was one of the first ones I remember to have, he got in there, or he had someone, his brother or something, go in and buy him a glass chillum. But we called it a chillum at the time because it was like that, but it was a real glass blower shit. Like it was really fat and stuff at the bottom. Like, because those ones are straight concealment. Everyone I know that smokes out of those ones are old school trying to smoke in public, but before it was legal. You know what I mean? So you could just take that out really quick and hit it. Or I don't know if you ever did this because
Zeppelins. I remember those.
You're a cigarette smoker, so like when you would go to a concert, was there points? I had friends who would. They would put like a few hits of weed in the tips of their cigarettes. when they would go to concerts
yeah.
and just smoke the weeds down really quick and then be like, well, it's just a cigarette, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, me and a couple of homies used to do that all the time. And then I worked at this fucking hotel back at it was like a couple towns over. It was dead of winter, and I was working midnight shift. I was the auditor, which sounds more important than it is, right? But all you're doing as the auditor at a hotel is the last little bit of laundry, and you put out the donuts for the continental breakfast. And at 11:59, you roll all the data over to the next day onto tape drives, and then reset all the computers.
Oh, fun.
But the rest of the time, I beat Dragon Warrior Monsters on Game Boy.
All right.
And then and then they had this fucking like the TV cart, like back in school. You know the cart?
Yeah, with the VHS on it.
VCR.
It's like belted down.
Yeah, exactly. And it had all of that on it. And I was like, oh, nobody else is here. So I just fucking brought my Super Nintendo in.
I would have loved to show up to a place like that. Like, bro, you work here? Wait, what the fuck?
I don't even remember. Oh yeah. So anyway, so I'm working there dead of winter. Back to the weed and the cigarette thing. I'm working there dead of winter. And I realize I'm mostly alone. And it's so cold, and I'm right next to the highway, that if I made it look like a cigarette, I could smoke weed outside.
Yeah.
So I started emptying out cigarettes entirely.
Yes.
And just filling them up with weed. And I learned you could still get a pretty decent buzz smoking weed through a fucking cigarette filter.
Me and my uncle actually did that. The schizophrenic uncle I talk about. We wouldn't have any papers or whatever. We'd rip the butt off because this was just at his house and stuff. But I'd be like, bro, I can pack a cigarette, because he didn't give a fuck. You know, he was honorably discharged. He had $2,000 a month just for being alive, so he didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Be like, yeah, empty out a fucking cigarette, and we would always call them cigaweeds. Be like, let's smoke a cigaweed. That's just dumb shit. But yeah, so chillum is your preferred method. Like if I was sitting here with a bunch of glass pieces, you'd still just be like, yeah, I'll smoke this chillum.
Nope,
you just whip out your own.
The camera.
Just whip your own.
Yeah. Well, no. I wouldn't whip out my own. Like I'll smoke a blunt with anybody, but I'll smoke out of a bong. I'll smoke a joint or whatever. But yeah, if you like, if it's like one of those, Desert Island 5 albums thing, like I'm going chillum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I rolled a blunt for the first time the other day because I fucked up and I got a box of cigarillos instead of blunt wraps. But they're these old. You said you didn't know them, but they're classic for me as a White Owl. And so I fucking.
I think I do remember White Owl.
Yeah, so I fucking got some grape White Owls.
Maybe it was from that conversation though.
It might have. I don't know, but I remember you saying you were like, I don't know for sure, but it was White Owls. So I split one and I rolled it up because I just wanted to see if it would work. And I got a little blunt and I was like, I'll smoke this. I haven't smoked a blunt mad long, so I was scared. I was really scared of the tobacco. I was like, this is gonna hurt, but it was surprisingly fine. So with your fucking chillum or whatnot, when we ask for preferred fucking ingestion methods, what is your favorite variety of flavors then from that? Like, what is your favorite terpenes in weed when you're smoking? Like, if I brought you the bombest bag of weed right now, like, what would it smell like and what would it taste like?
It would smell a little bit like puke and taste a little bit like fruit.
No. Like your fucking preference in weed. I mean, unless that's still it. Like if I brought you like your dream sack right now, like what do you prefer? You know what I mean? Like if you smelled it, and it was the shit you wanted it to be. You know what I mean?
Oh, like the best of the shit I could get.
Yeah.
Readily.
Yeah, not yeah. No, not readily. Let's say this is like your dream sack. Like what do you really love the most? Like what's the best weed you ever smoked that you wish you had right now?
I don't know it by name.
Let's just tell me the flavors.
It smelled like gas. Like it had a fuel smell to it. Like I was like, bro, this isn't plant matter.
Why is it so gassy?
But I can't remember a distinct taste, but I was too young. Like I'm too old now to remember the taste. but I remember where I was, and I remember who it was. And I don't know if it's the weed I'm attached to or the memory, but it was a college professor. I don't know what he taught because I wasn't going to college. I was actually still in high school. Well, I was just about to graduate. And it was in a garage, and it was a normal meeting. And there was a lawyer from the ACLU there, and a cop did arrive because they knew there was weed there. And the ACLU lawyer did not let him in because he did not have a warrant, and it did not smell like weed because some smart fuck in there knew what the fuck he was doing. I don't know what the fuck we were blasting that place full of smoke, trust me. But like somebody in there knew what the fuck they were doing because you couldn't fucking smell weed anywhere outside the room we were in. I was too young. Like, again, fucking there's more than 20 years between me and this story. But I do remember the lawyer. And I don't know what the cop said because, again, he was outside. The lawyer was loud. And he said that the cop, like, I'm not going to say it all judiciously. I'm going to say what I heard the man say. Just picture this coming through like a wall, like outside. You hear people mumbling,
my
normal
sounds.
volume. And then you hear this big, loud lion of a man that I've been hanging out with for a couple hours clearly yell, "And you look like a dick with ears." It wasn't long after that he came in alone with no cops and no one was in trouble. I don't remember what that weed tasted like, but it stuck with me. Not just the story, but the whole, that was some good fucking weed. Because it was one of those things like that dude, he handed me the weed and let me hit it. And I was like, "Can I hit that again?" And he's like, Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure. I smoke weed." And he's like, "I mean, yeah, you smoke weed, but this isn't, I don't think this is what you're used to, kid. I'm not trying to," and at that point, I was interested in smoking more just to see if weed could kill me.
Right? Like, what the fuck?
Like, yeah, if it can kill me, let it kill me then.
Let's give it a try.
But yeah, I mean, that shit, it fucked me up. And it was to a point where I realized I'm a lightweight and I know nothing.
So do you get more excited for like gassier flavors and shit now? Like if you're gonna sit there and you get a bag and you smell something gassy, you're like, "Oh fuck, this is that shit."
If my face recoils naturally like it does, like everybody's does whenever you put your nose in a bottle of fucking really strong booze, like if my face does, like if I smell some weed and this happens, but in like the most pleasant possible, like my body just reacted to that gas in there. Like, yeah, I'm excited as fuck.
I just realized that. Look, I've obviously seen with a bit, but I've just now put that together in my head. Actually, I'm like, oh yeah, people aren't just fucking around when they do that. I always think people are fucking around, because and you know how it is, especially with certain people. They'll be like, "God damn, like what the fuck is that?" But I'm gonna imagine he's screaming at elves, just magical elves.
That was my brother.
No, you're fine. I was just making.
But yeah, he was handing me something. Yeah, so it did look like I was pointing away and yelling.
Motherfucker.
He always manages, and it's completely unintentional. He always manages to need my attention when I'm in the middle of something, and I always manage to get in the middle of something without telling him. I don't know who's the inconsiderate one, but I don't get mad. So
it's always fine.
If I need to forgive him, it already happened subconsciously, and if he needs to forgive me, I don't realize I need to apologize.
So to go on from that, sorry, and this is still all part of my first question because I'm an ass, because I just wanted these two things to roll over.
That's that's cool. Circles.
But like with your varieties and stuff, so let's say you just got a gassy bag of weed. And let's say you had some money in your pocket or something. What's your favorite set and setting for ingestion? Like, do you enjoy throwing some music on? Do you have like a ritual? Would you rather like watch a show? Like what's your favorite set and setting for when you're getting baked?
I mean, this chair.
Like to make sure I'm right here.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck where. Barbershop, outside the barbershop, the trash cans behind the gas station, bus stop.
The trash can's a good choice. You're gonna meet some quality friends by the trash can.
I'm just naming places I've smoked weed recently. And they've all been great experiences with wonderful people. And that's the thing. Like Snoop Dogg said it best himself. Like if you wanna get rid of a violence problem, you never seen a room full of dudes on weed start a fight.
I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, there was this one time, but we won't get into my shit right now. So that being said, anywhere, whatever. Do you have a preferred media while you're high? Like, what's your favorite like? Do you have a favorite album or show that you would actually like to put on? Like, let's say you're really baked, you got nothing to do, and there's like a go-to you have.
That's a loaded question. I mean, there's albums that are out there that I could listen to the entirety of.
What's the most recent favorite maybe song you'd like to just throw on when you're nice and baked? You know, no shit's gonna happen. You just want like a feel good song.
I'll give you a short list.
All right.
And they're albums, right? Like, let's go 3, and I'll stop there.
All right.
Rozelle, rapper / beatboxer. The album Make the Music 2000. 1999 is when it came out. Kool Keith, Black Elvis Lost in Space is one of the greatest rap albums of all time. IMO. Fucking hang me out to dry. If you don't like it, I fucking love that album. All of it. When I put it on, I start at the front and I listen to all of it. My favorite song on it is probably I'm Seeing Robots.
I wish I could still listen to full albums sometimes. I get sick of shit.
And outside of hip hop, and this is my third, King Crimson, In the Court of the Crimson King, entire album.
Ugh.
That's some chill stoner shit. All 3 of those.
I'll stick by that. No one's gonna hang you out to dry. It's fine. We all have our favorites. That's why when you said it was a loaded question, that's why I'm just like, like recently, you know, because we all do like change and shit.
Oh,
so
recently, I think me and you were talking about this. Recently, it's not even any of those 3 albums, but ODB has been on my mind, and one of my favorite rap albums of all time is like I could listen to any song off this album without complaining, but I would complain if I didn't get to listen to the whole album. Old Dirty Bastard, Word I Can't Say Please.
Oh, word.
Is like one of my top probably 2. Like when I say things like top 3, top 2, like I don't have them in order. I'm just like gun to head in the moment. Like, I can't call anything my favorite of all time.
I will say for the record, ODB with, who was it? ODB with DMX and Ozzy Osbourne on South Park Chef Aid. Worst ODB ever. Worst. Just want to say
about anything he did as Dirt McGirt was hard to listen to.
so, all right, we'll go on from that to first time you smoked, Necro. What was the first time you smoked like?
That's a great story. I was 18 years old. It was my birthday, so it was March 2nd. Hold on, I can tell you what year it was. I just got to use the calculator because I'm not good at math. Who gives a fuck? Never mind. It was the 90s. I know it was the 90s. It was 96, 97, maybe 98, somewhere around there. I tell people that's when I peaked. That day, in fact, was the best fucking day. I said the dumbest thing, which made the fucking the best group of people laugh their balls off at me. I said I'm not ever gonna smoke. I was straight edge, by the way.
I know how it
straight edge
is. Yeah,
until
I remember growing up being like, drugs are bad. I've seen what they've done.
Yeah. And I had used the logic on a child to get them to eat spinach. I said, have you ever eaten spinach? Kid said no. And then I said, well, how can you hate something you've never tried? And then one of my best friends, who's in my Discord, and you one of these days could get a chance to meet this guy. He's a great motherfucker, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. He said the same fucking thing to me when he offered me weed, and then I just finally was like, all right, bet. And then we got in another friend's car. I think there was 4, maybe 5 of us, and we drove because it's the 90s and it's not legal.
Yeah.
So we drove.
You gotta have a nice drive sometimes.
We drove out through a bunch of fucking middle of nowhere bullshit and found an abandoned house set in where just at the time it was all cornfields. Now it's a subdivision. It's crazy to see that. Where it was like that road, it was like McDonald's, Taco Bell, corn. And it was like right down here outside of the camera view, highway. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like highway, McDonald's, gas station, Taco Bell, Panera Bread, apartments. I'm like, whoa.
That is fucking. That's what scares me about going back to my hometown, man. I know they've developed. I haven't been there in 10 years. But anyways, that's me digressing again.
But yeah, so we sat there and we smoked a joint, and then we went back on the road. We were gonna go to IHOP and fucking get coffee and sit in the smoking section.
Like a cool goth kid, almost.
And I think I'm in the back seat or I'm in the passenger seat. But the window got rolled down because I said, I still got friends that say this to me. I said, roll up down the window, yo.
Everyone just broke out.
And everybody laughed, and then the window got rolled down, and then I was like, here's the window over here. I was like this. And then somebody goes, yo, you okay? And I was like, the air feels like milk. And then that was it. Like, I'm 44 years old, and occasionally somebody will fucking go, air still feel like milk?
Fucking A.
Shut the fuck up, bro. I was 18 and I'd never done drugs at all.
Right?
Like, my dad gave me a sip of beer when I was a kid.
Really fun, though. I would love to feel like the air was milk.
And then right after that birthday, it was like, now you're gonna get drunk. Now you're gonna do acid. And then you're gonna try meth. And
yeah.
And then you're gonna spend part of your 20s fucking grinding up prescription medication under a Bible and snorting it in a dollar bill.
It'll be great.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, part of it was great. It got a little bit out of control. I got it back together by about 24.
It's a good time to get it back together. There's a lot of people who just lose their shit and keep spiraling.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 18 to 24 were my dark ages.
I was gonna say, my uncle said that same thing to my little brother when we were bitching about him smoking crack. He's like, "Don't knock it till you try it." We were like, "Steve, you just told a fucking 12-year-old to smoke crack." So it was funny, but it's also not funny if you really think about it. But it really was hilarious. But it was like my little brothers were always smart, so it's not like they were like, you know what? Maybe he's right. But any fucking ways. So that was your first time getting high, fucking riding around and shit. Now with these friends, like, I gotta say, like, there is just something, like, I don't like to be nostalgic, but we all are, right? Like, we don't like to admit to some of these things sometimes. But being young,
I don't mind. I got like, let me dead eye the camera. Shame and pride are for cowards.
I guess, I mean, fucking, the thing is I didn't like nostalgia because I feel like there's a lot of people who are nostalgic for being children and having no worries and stuff. And the thing about I don't like about being a child or being childish is I like to have control of my surroundings and I like to know what's going on, you know? Like I'm not saying I want to be in complete control, but I want to be at least informed. And when you're a kid, you know, you're fucking cut out. You're not part of any of that. You're like, dude, just get the fuck out of here. You're fine. You know, go play Nintendo.
Yeah, dude, and that's that whole thing that makes every kid be like, I can't wait till I'm a grown up. And it's like, yeah, no. Then when you're finally informed, you're like, oh, they were protecting me.
But I really feel like there's a lot of people who really lust for that kind of mentality still, because it's comfy, you know. But I don't. That's why I'm always like, I'm not trying to be childish. But I'm gonna say there's something about being a kid. This can be an 18-year-old kid or whatever. Being a kid, because you're a fucking kid till you're 25, in my opinion. But maybe even later. You might not even ever grow up. But
yeah, no, I told a kid one time outside of the fucking club, and I was kicking him out, and he was all bummed because he got caught, and he got caught because he was too drunk, and he was clearly not an adult.
Come on, kid.
Like, he didn't sneak a couple to get a light buzz on so he could drink with dance with a girl. Like, he got fucking, like, shit hammered. Like, he pounded too much too early. He was throwing up. We were practically carrying him out, and he was telling me what a fuck up he was. And I was like, bro, how old are you? And he's like, I'm 19. And I'm like, bro, you should be fucking your entire life up until you turn at least 30. Like, fucking get a backpack and go randomly anywhere. Go everywhere.
Right.
Like, fuck your 20s. Fuck them. Go fuck your life up, because they're about to fuck the rest of it up for you.
The only point I was trying to make before we get to more depression in reality is there's something about
I don't find that depressing at all.
The game's stacked against you. There's something about
exactly, dude. Like,
even so,
don't work hard.
Even
you die at the end.
You'll
Didn't
still
anybody
die.
Tell you?
You still die, no matter what. So regardless, before the invention of cars, but even since their inception, there's something about getting high, loud music, and then also like riding around since its inception or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's people who've gotten high and listened to loud music and then went on their boat or something. I don't fucking know. But there's just something so nostalgic for that about me too, and that's why I love bumping. That's why I love a good sound system, and for me, hip hop and stuff. Because it's like you're saying, how many times have you rode around with some friends, and you're just fucking chiefing fucking blunts or whatever, and you're fucking banging some good music. Like, oh my god, there's nothing like better than like actually riding, in a sense. No homo or nothing, but no, totally. I don't. It's a free world.
There's a reason the term is ride or die, bro.
So now we'll try to fucking move on. So do you have a favorite personal smoking story besides the first time you were smoking? Like your most memorable smoking story?
Bus stop, East St. Louis, 5th of Missouri. I'm giving you the exact location. And the reason I'm giving you the exact location is because if you look it up on Google Maps, I could tell you, like, there's the railway cutting across up like here.
Fucking the 31B fucking hits it every day.
And then the line from the street cuts in like this in a circle, right? And then cuts back out the other side, so they can let you off right at the train. And so there's like a bus stop here, and then here, and then here, and then here along that sort of driveway there. And I was at the one, like, main road right there, bus stop, down there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was right up against the road because I had a blunt and I had like 2 cigarettes left. And no, I didn't have a blunt. I was trying to get a blunt and I had 2 cigarettes.
Some how high shit.
But I had like $5. That was my thing. I had $5. That's how I knew I had a blunt.
I already had it.
I was like waiting to get this bus, and the bus didn't get there, and I could tell you the exact time because I had to memorize that shit so that I could walk to these spots, because it's 3 miles from my house to the stop that gets me to East St. Louis to catch the bus, because at that time I wasn't living in East St.
All right.
So that's 3 miles walk. That's 6 miles a day. Who gives a fuck about that third miles back though? Because that's whatever. But
I'm getting the fuck
walk
back.
3 miles. I get on the bus, and the last bus that goes back to my house, 11:47 p.m. Number 5. I that schedule in my head still. 25 years later, it's fucking odd. But I'm sitting there.
What are we besides our memories and stuff? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Right. I'm sitting there like waiting for this bus. And I decide to light one of my last 2 cigarettes. And it's not like a fatal thing. It's like I can wait till tomorrow, get some more tip money or whatever. And I light the cigarette, and I mean out of fucking nowhere, a dude pops up. Now, most people with my skin tone would tell you that dude's skin tone, but you and I don't give a fuck what another human being.
Yeah, someone pops up. Yeah,
dude pops up and asks me, politely, mind you, asks me for shorts, not another cigarette.
Yeah.
And I've only got one left. And I said, I'll give you one, homie. And I gave him my last cigarette because I had so much of that 100 left. And when I pulled the box out, and he was like, he saw that it was a Newport, he got excited.
Oh yeah, but
He said, and I quote, because these words said in this order, with this man's voice and in his accent, would be burned into your head forever at that age too. He said, is that a Newport? Nothing smell like a Newport. Give me one of them cigarettes. And it made me laugh my balls off. And I handed him the pack, and he goes, oh shit, that's your last one? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, respect. And then pulls out a blunt, lights it, and fucking proceeds to get me goddamn baked.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, bro, I got $5 left in my name. I was gonna buy a blunt on my when I got home. You want that 5? And he goes, you know what? And then reaches into his pocket and pulls out the biggest fucking wad of cash my dumb ass has ever seen, and pulls a couple of bucks out for me and says, get yourself a pack of cigarettes. And it gets up and walks out of the fucking bus stop. And I'm like, was that a test? Was I just visited by God?
It was an angel.
What the fuck was that? He didn't need a cigarette from me at all.
He didn't even need a cigarette. Maybe that's honestly all he was missing right then. I gotta say from his perspective, because I don't know how to actually say this, but there was a time, because I still live in the hood, but there was a time where I started making some really dumb money, and I just gave no fucks. But like you're saying, I would lack certain things. So I'd walk up, like how you're saying, and be like, bro, like, what are you, like, you eating a sandwich or some shit? And they're like, yeah, like, let me get half that sandwich. Some bullshit or something, some weird bullshit. And they're like, all right, here you go, man. But same shit, you know what I'm saying? I'd have some money and shit on me. I'm just not trying to do whatever that shit is right now. Be like, bro, here, fucking, give him some dollars. Like, get yourself a fucking sandwich, man. Thank you so much. And it's like you're saying, though, because that person's like, what the fuck just happened? But it's like, bro, all I have right now is money, and I'm not trying to travel more than 15 feet away from where I'm supposed to be. Because you know how it is in the hood. Like, shit is still more social. Like, if you're, like, when I say a dumb shit, like half your sandwich, like, people are outside doing shit. So, like if I'm walking my dog and I see someone with some shit, I'm like, yo, what's up? And they're like, what's up? I'm a weird dude, too, so they'll talk.
You just, when you said, sometimes, it's just something I need, and I don't want to go 15 feet from where I'm supposed to be. It was like a core memory unlocked. There was a dude from our hood named Binky. Now, I don't know what this dude's real name was, and he's long dead now because he was old when I was a kid. Yeah, he never got out of his car. Never. And if he had to roll his window down, it got ugly. Like people would. Everybody knew Binky. It was like, you ever hear like Suge Knight stories? People like, oh shit, Suge's outside. Suge's outside. Like, I hear people talking like that, and I'm like, bro, Like it wasn't Suge in my hood. It was Binky.
You don't want to
If
fuck
Binky
with
was
Binky.
outside, somebody was gonna go outside and sit in his car with him, or there was gonna be a problem.
I gotta say, there was only in my time when it came to shit like that, everything was so shattered and segregated, and there was such a fight against like gang violence and gang activity that like there was people like
his
that.
Nickname was Binky too.
Because
It's gonna sound like some made up shit because that's what everybody calls the fucking thing you put in a baby's mouth.
Yeah.
When they're crying, you know.
Yeah.
Binky. No, his name was Binky because his last name was Billick. You could probably find his fucking obituary.
Jesus.
He was from Madison.
Find his obituary. We can visit his grave.
I don't know what his real first name was. But he was dangerous, bro. He was fucking Stagger Lee.
That was that real shit that you do. There's people you just don't fuck with.
Stagger Lee was a real criminal, like a historical fucking like
Yeah.
you can look him up. He's from East St. Louis.
I'm not trying to talk too much about just this aspect, but that was something when I started getting recognized or tough quotations was because one of my best friends was a fucking maniac. Like literally did 10 years for killing a dude. Like only 10 years for killing a dude. But that was like when he got caught. But like he did crazy shit though. Like when I was a kid, I had to stop chilling with him because he was doing drive-bys and he fucking shot someone's dog because he was fucking shooting their house up and shit. And I'm like, bro, I can't be chilling with people who kill fucking dogs. Like, and that was really fucked up coming from me at the time because we were fucked up kids that were like, we shouldn't have been doing certain things that were being done. Like it's really weird how shit can get. Anyways, we're not going on to that.
You just don't do.
So speaking of Binky, do you have a most famous person you've ever smoked with, Necro?
He doesn't really count, but he does, but he doesn't.
Is it Binky?
He's a rapper. He's a rapper from St. Louis, and he got to open for Raekwon.
Oh shit.
And he stole my seat at a bar, but he didn't realize he stole my seat. See, because my jacket, well, my coat really, was sitting down on a stool right next to the bench for that table. But the reason I didn't sit down at that bench is because I'm 6'3", and I mean, can you see where my shoulders end? I'm pretty far back from that fucking.
He's a big fella.
Like,
what was the jersey they got? Big Baby or something?
Big Baby. Hey, Big Man.
I love Big Baby
Big
so
man.
much.
That look good on you.
look good on you, dog.
Hey, Big Man. That look good on you, dog.
Big Baby.
And I'm like, all right, bet. I'll buy it. I let that dude pick out all my shit.
Fucking A. I'm sorry. I just had to say it. I fucking loved that one.
But yeah, so that's why I didn't sit on that bench seat. So I put my coat on this fucking stool, and then I go play ping pong because that's why I hung out at this bar because they got fucking.
I was ready. I was ready for the ping pong.
Yeah, like $3 long necks, and it's Colorado, right? So $3. That's like $1.
All right, fuck.
Because I'm in Boulder, Colorado, bro. In Boulder, Colorado, you got to make $80,000 a year to be poor.
Oh fuck.
So yeah.
Before COVID,
to get a third.
believe it or not, before COVID, that was my bracket that I was entering. Just so it's clear, all right. Fuck you, COVID and legalization.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Sorry.
So anyway, so I lose a game of ping pong like you do, and I go turn around like fuck this. Like I'm gonna grab my coat, go outside, and have a smoke.
Never lose the ping pong.
Like I just lit this stub because I don't ever smoke a whole cigarette anymore. And I turn around and like I make the face. The oh shit, I know exactly who you are face. And oh shit, like you're a person of note. This face.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck.
And he made the same face back at me. And his DJ was right next to him. And he made the same face right back at me. And I was like, Steady P, DJ Muff. And they're like, we got a fan in Boulder, Colorado? And I'm like, oh, I'm from fucking, let's just say I'm from St. Louis. They're like, where you from? And I'm like, East St. Louis. And they're like, we got a fan in East St. Louis? And I was like, well, I've only heard the song fucking Rock Steady. But I really like it. because it's like the beat they sampled was from that fucking 80s song. And we begin to rock steady, steady rocking all night. They did a really good sample of that. And I dug the track because it starts with him smoking, like his phone wakes him up, and then he smokes a bong, then he puts his shoes on, and then hits the street and starts rapping. That's the video, and I liked it.
It's feel good kind of shit.
And yeah, so I got into that track, and I was listening to it over and fucking over again. And then I go out to Colorado, and I'm living there, and I'm all happy, and it's, you know, my first like month there and shit. And I run into him. And I was like, what are you guys doing here? And like, apparently at this fucking Italian restaurant right next door, fucking DJ Muff. By the way, DJ Muff from Steady P is also the brother of the dude that draws the Teen Titan comics.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, back to they tell me that that's why they're there. And then they're like, hey, you smoke? And I'm like, oh yeah, I live here. Because it's like,
yeah, you're in Boulder.
yeah,
people are doing drugs in Boulder.
I don't have to look around like I'm about to say some racist shit first because it's not illegal anymore. I'm like, yeah, I smoke weed. Yes, officer, I do smoke marijuana. And I do have some. Would you like some? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was so I was like, I was hyped to be in Colorado.
Yeah, Boulder was probably a magical place for that time.
Yeah. Except for that time I almost got a ticket for smoking outside. And I was like, Boulder is a little less magical.
New York my whole life, so
not weed though.
Yeah.
So they're like, you want to smoke? And I was like, yeah. And we go on like a 3-block hike. And I thought for no reason, but they were just taking us to their car. And not to smoke weed. They had the weed the whole time. We were smoking the weed while we're walking, and I was confused by that. But then we get to the car, they open the trunk, and they give me this fucking stack of CDs and T-shirts and stickers. And they're like, you can give them out or you can keep them.
Oh, fucking A.
So I gave a bunch to friends who never even bothered getting into Steady. And I'm, you know, like I'm not really into Steady's new stuff. But I like the old stuff.
But I like that. Well, you know, better than...
like I really like that song, No Days Off. This was made while you were sleeping. No days off. I like his attitude. Like I said, he opened for Raekwon.
Yeah.
Like Raekwon heard him and was like, yeah, he's in. So he's got that going for him. One of the 9 generals approved.
Yeah, I liked Raekwon, but I really liked fucking Ghostface a lot. And that's what pissed me off about Action Bronson at the time, because I was still an elitist, but Action Bronson is, I'm sure if I went back and listened to him again, he'd be enjoyable to listen to.
If you're going to listen to any Action Bronson song, may I recommend a good one that's short?
I mean, I might have already heard it, because I did listen to a lot afterwards when I started listening to Riff Raff, but what is it?
Well, I'll have to look it up, because now I can't fucking remember the name of the fucking thing.
But I started judging Action Bronson because I was also jealous because Action Bronson was just a chef who broke his arm. He's like, I'm gonna write an album, and he fucking blew up. It's like this motherfucker over here.
Imported goods.
Imported goods? I'll note it. I might have heard it, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's an old one. 12-year-old video.
Oh yeah, I probably have heard it then.
Yeah, it was right before he started doing tracks with Riff Raff. I've never been a big fan of Riff Raff.
I was getting so fucked up at the time of Riff Raff coming out that it was perfect for me because it was nonsense. The beats hit so hard, and I was always on a lot of Molly at the time. I'd just be smoking fucking blunts and fucking popping the Molly. And Riff Raff was great for that. Especially at the time when I was listening to Riff Raff was still when I was in a car a lot, going back and forth from here to where I live and shit. But speaking of going back and forth where I live, I would stop for a lot of food sometimes. Necro, do you have a favorite food and drink while you're stoned? Like, do you have what would be like if you were stoned as fuck off of that awesome gassy weed you just got? And then, like, let's say your brother walks in with a surprise plate. If it would be the ultimate surprise and the best for while you were baked, what would it be? It could be both food and drink if you want. Or either.
It would just be regular sweet ass tea. but not too sweet. I don't like heavily sweet iced tea.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking like half a cup of sugar for an entire gallon of tea.
Yeah, like it just
But
tastes.
I like it.
It's
I like
sugary enough to be a
Oh,
different drink.
yeah, I like my tea colder than I like my water. And like when I drink water, it's like I put an entire tray of ice in this big ass fucking. It's usually my one fountain drink cup that lasts me for way too long, and then I throw it out and get another one.
That's the Go Cup.
That's how often I have a soda. Yeah, and then like I'll just fill that with water for like the rest of the fucking week. But I mean, I'll dump an entire tray of ice into that cup and then fill it with water and just drink, sips out of that, like you've been seeing me do.
Bro, no offense. My grandma and my grandpa, back when like he was alive and shit, they loved their, like my grandpa loved his iced teas or just regular teas, like hot teas. But when he did his iced tea, they bought, because this is, I want to say mid 90s, so you would just get weird shit like this. They bought these fucking mugs, and they called them freezer mugs. And they had a layer of water in the middle of them.
They held like nothing in them.
Yeah, well, no,
like it was like a half a coffee cup.
No,
that, like,
he had big ones. He had big ones, like you were saying, where he could also empty the whole ice ones in it. So these were real mugs. When I tell you, like they're mugs or whatever, but they were still. It was the water. They were filled with ones. I know the ones you're talking about because I did see other ones at people's houses that nothing. Like you're saying, like a cup of liquid. But they had these fucking freezer mugs, and like they'd always be like, get me some tea out in the freezer mug. Put the ice to the top and just fill it with tea.
Special mug.
For real. The special one, the one with my name on it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just reminded me of that. I could see you doing it if you had one. This is my special freezer mug.
I actually do have a special coffee mug. It's sitting on my desk. It's a little bit dirty because I had this. Well, it's a little bit dirty, but it's also a little bit scuffed. Right there, you can see where like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that had a name on it.
I've been scraping at it for years.
And it said right there, it said employee mug.
Oof.
Yeah, I worked here for like a week.
Nice.
And it was so shit that I fucked off out of it, like just by like walking out and not going back.
This is the shittest place ever. So I'm sorry. So fucking favorite drink is a cold ass iced tea, and we're talking just like
the food. Homemade. It would be homemade, and it would probably be a soft taco.
Just a homemade soft taco. What's on this taco?
Yeah. It would be not overly seasoned, just a little bit of cumin, chili powder, some cayenne pepper, like strips of chicken or beef, either one.
Strips.
And then I'd cut it into thin strips, and it would almost be like fajita, except it's just the meat there and the seasoning. And then I would put on top of that some tomatoes or salsa, either one, whatever I got. And then on top of that, I would put homemade slaw, like a vinegar, not a mayo slaw.
All right.
And then on top of that, I would sprinkle a tiny, tiny little bit of queso fresco.
And that's it. That's your taco. Roll it up.
That's it right there. Squeeze lime on it. You gotta squeeze lime on it.
See, I'd be throwing some cheese and sour cream and shit because I'm an asshole.
Yeah. Well, that's what the coleslaw does it for you. And just meat coleslaw and a corn tortilla is healthy.
I would try it. Yeah,
put too much more shit on there.
Again, New Yorkers, so we have our slaw like on the side. We always got slaw on the side. We don't usually toss it out with stuff.
Yeah, we put Midwest, we put everything on everything.
Yeah, like, we have it on the sides.
If you came here, we'll serve you a burrito, but in a way that will confuse and frighten you, and then you'll call it an abomination, and we just call it some kind of casserole or whatever. But here's what I mean. This is a real Midwest dish. This is a real Midwest casserole, and they call it like fucking taco bake. Right, so what you do is you make stuff you'd put in a fucking taco, but then you put it at the bottom of a pan, and then you put a tortilla on top of that, and then you put more of that taco stuff, and then some cheese, and then another tortilla. You're building a fucking lasagna, and then you bake it until all the cheese is bubbly and everything's done, and then you take it out. You sprinkle it with lettuce and tomatoes and
that
shit.
Sounds so good.
Cut
right
it into
now.
squares, and it's so
awesome.
good.
Yeah, I want some right now.
Yeah, it's like a 7-layer dip in burrito form, and yeah, we just call it taco bake. But everything here is like that. We put your food in your food, and then we put that on your food. Like
so
one of my favorite things we do here in the Midwest is a bunch of shit, condensed soup, and then tater tots. Don't know what it's called, but every time I eat it, it's so good.
Potatoes, honestly. Fucking there's points where like I'm just like, yo, get tater tots, like a crispy ass tater tot with just some dipping sauce. That can make my day sometimes. Alright, so to circle back, I don't know if this will have anything to do with the first story, possibly, but maybe not. But why did you start smoking in the first place? When you said, have you ever tried weed? Like, what was like, do you have a profound reason? Like, were you just a kid? You were ready and curious?
I was at that point, I was 18, and I was, kicked out of 17, living in the basement of one of my best friend's house. Like, his mom was like, ain't no baby on the street gonna not get their diploma when they're that close. Like, you're gonna come live with us. We're gonna make sure you get your high school filled and finished. And they took care of me. And like, it was around that time I was full on angry at the world, because my actual family just threw my ass out. So I was getting all fucking, fuck the system and fuck people, and I was getting super fucking negative, but like up my ass intellectual about it. I was always a subscriber to Smart Fuck magazine.
I gotta say though, nothing hurts more than like what you're describing. Failure from your own family, especially like your parents, and then not only failure but rejection,
banishment.
Yeah, like it's just like, we're done with you. Like, yeah,
literal banishment.
And then blaming though too, because I'm sure you were focused as a problem and shit like that. But I'm not trying to make this sad or go deep. I'm just had to throw that in there. There's nothing worse than that pain of like failure from family and then rejection, even when it's not your fault. Especially, you're just a kid. Anyways, continue.
I was a dumb kid.
We were all dumb kids, too. Right?
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's one thing I've managed to learn in my years on Earth is that there's no such thing as an adult.
I guess so. We try.
We're all flawed, and we're all broken, and we're all insecure, and it's fine. We're fine.
An adult's just the limit, so that we can feel safe selling you narcotics or whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, back in the day, motherfuckers would be like, and like, there wasn't a register list for these motherfuckers. It was just a dude who was like, don't go down on a corner. That man is odd. Don't go near the odd man's house.
Yeah, let the kids drink. Who gives a fuck? More business for me.
Yeah, like I don't want to make America anything again. I just want to make people know their neighbors, so that people can start going, don't go by the odd man's house again. We need that guy back. Like I heard a comedian one time refer to his mother as an Italian security camera.
Right? No, for real. Dude, before you go into this, I gotta say, this is how I felt when I was giving those kids the candy. I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I'm a weird fucking dude. You shouldn't accept weird fucking candy from weird people. I'm like, but I'm your neighbor also, but if anything happens, call the police. But I'm just saying this to little kids to be funny, but just today, there's a dog fucking coming down my street, and I'm just an animal person, and I'm like, what are you doing, dog? Get over here, And they come up, they're all weird, but I start petting them, and I walk them down the street really quick, and like, I already had an idea of where they were, but I let them run up to the door. I'm like, this is obviously their house, and I knock, and I'm like, hey man, your fucking dog over here. But there's people in this day, like, people will just, for real, in my hood, people will steal your fucking dog. People will fucking take your dog, and they might even sell your dog. But I didn't mean to digress from your shit, but like it's not hard to be that person in your neighborhood, wherever, no matter where you live. Like, oh, neighbor's dog's out. Let me call the fucking police because I'm a fucking scummy fuck. Just fucking go out and walk the dog back. It's a friendly dog.
Right.
Like, fuck.
Right.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know that motherfucker will walk right up to anybody that'll pet him. So just take him home.
For real. Like, or just dumb shit. It's like you're saying, like, yo, this dude is shady on the street. Like, I fucking had, I've did that too. I was knocking on some old people's doors. And one day I was like, yo, I want to let you know, this house right here, they fucking took my fucking fridge and it was garbage. And you know what they did? They put some cameras and shit up the next day. Good for fucking them. But they're just old people, and they're like, I know they're targets because I was a stupid kid once. But anyways, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to digress. You were saying, Necro.
I forgot what I was saying. It's a good story.
You were going to say something about this comedian talking about being the Italian security camera.
Oh, yeah. We should have that. We should have, like, we should all be what that comedian referred to his mom as. Nosy.
And we were coming.
I mean nosy.
We were coming from there.
Like, I want to get in. I don't want to get in your life.
Yeah.
I just want to know that you're safe.
Yeah.
First of all, if you live within 200 feet of me, I want to know your name. I want to know what you drive. I want to know who should not fuck with you and what they look like. And that way, when they come around, I can call you and go, hey, I think I saw him. And then you can go, good looking out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we should be able to fucking be like, hey, you were out and a package got dropped off. And we all know about that weird motherfucker over there. So I grabbed it. I got it over here. But I don't want you to find out when you get home from work. I want to text it to you immediately. And the only way that's going to happen is if I fucking, open my windows.
No, for real.
My door.
And obviously
take a
it's
walk around.
It's
bring
intimate.
You a pie. By the way, I make good pie.
I make real
and
good
if you
pies.
lived in my neighborhood, like if you moved in over there right now, like the old man dies or whatever from right next door, and then you end up fucking in this fucking neck of the woods, and you lived right over there, and I'd never seen you before, and we never knew each other, I would bring you a homemade Dutch apple pie, and I would ask you what your name is, and I would take a look at your car. I'd ask you what you do for a living. I'd get a couple of questions, and I'd tell you all the same things about myself. And
that I'm asking.
Say, anyway, here's my phone number. If you ever need anything, let me know. And when you're finished with the pie, you can just bring the plate over, and I'll give you a nickel tour of our place.
But I wish
welcome to the neighborhood.
I have to be the weird person because I've been here for so long, but I wish people do that. But I'm the dude who has to approach people, but I'm always like, hey, you smoke? But
it's good. That's good.
Yeah, but
that's the new America.
If you came to my fucking house with a pie, even it doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago, you'd be like, bro, there's this whole pie. Like, I would already know because there's like a stoner code. You already know when you meet certain people. I'd be like, bro, this pie's delicious, but like, here's like an eighth or whatever. But the thing is, once in a while, and this is nothing fancy.
That's another reason you want to meet your neighbors too, so you can find out.
Well, I was gonna say another thing. If you're friendly with food, some people are paranoid about food. So I don't get it. I've accepted fucking jerked turkey from rapists convicted. That was some sketchy shit. But I fucking love trying other people's food. I really do. That's how we share culture and shit. But like I'll make dumb lazy shit. I'll be like, hey bro, I got a plate of fucking eggplant parm for you. I just fried it up. Like, and that's some basic shit, but it's like, yeah, free fucking some shit like that. You're like, fuck, man, I didn't expect it, so thanks. But like, just being like that person though, like it's not hard to take, like, especially like when people are talking about like how long does it really take to do some shit? Or how much do you do shit? Like, why not spend one day, it's nice outside, you grill up some extra shit, you hit up your neighbor who you know is, like, bro, I know you're not going to turn down a fucking steak and burger right now. Like, bro, I'm not. Like, all right, here you go. Anyways, any fucking ways. But all this comes back from I was asking why you had started smoking, and you were just saying that, it was like that time,
Oh, yeah. So I'm living in my friend's basement, like right under their living room. And I remember that because when the phone was for me, she would stomp on the floor. Because she didn't want to fucking get up and walk over to the stairs. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It was efficient.
I ain't even her real kid.
It's efficient.
So, yeah. And she had rules, and the rules were good. Rules like on a school night, every kid, and there was like 7 kids in that house, but every kid was allowed to play one video game, and only one. Couldn't change cartridges. for an hour.
Oh yeah.
You got 1 hour. I beat Blackthorn, Out of This World, Flashback, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3, Faxanadu. I beat more video games because of that rule than I ever did in my life before that.
Right.
Because there was no rules before.
Yeah, you just play whatever
And
you
when
want. I'm
there
sick
were
of
rules,
this.
I got disciplined.
I am beating Mario
Like,
today.
I was living in a situation where everyone loved each other, right? My real family. It was real love, but it was chaotic, evil love. Like, not underdark evil, but not good, but still love. And it was real, sincere. These people care about each other and will help each other, but will also destroy themselves and everything around them.
Some drow shit?
Yeah. Just self-destructive.
Yeah.
Dark, but real. And this other family, for the 3 years I was with them, taught me discipline and focus and weed and alcohol.
And alcohol.
Actually, the parents didn't know. Like, the mom and dad did not know that I had smoked weed until I told on myself on the phone with a girl that I liked. And they heard it. But they didn't care. But they did introduce me to booze. And it was controlled. They had this house full of kids that they were feeding alcohol to. Because that's just what you did in the 90s. And, you know, we all wanted to try booze. It was New Year's Eve, you know, and they had rules. You know, the kids were not going to touch it. But 17 and up would be allowed, and only certain amounts would be allowed. And choices were allowed. There was a menu, right? Like, they set this shit out so that they could control it. It was like a fucking report card, the way it was set up. Like, every eligible teenager's name was on the list. If they chose to drink, then their name would be on the list. If they chose not to drink, their name would be crossed out. And at a certain time, each one of the eligibles that chose to drink would be offered one drink from a menu. Like, you can have a beer, or you can have Paula was making these. That was Mom. Paula was making these mudslides. It was like an ounce. It was like an ounce of rum and then a bunch of chocolate frost shit, and they were really sweet and syrupy. Right. And there was Jack and Cokes, and there was vodka sodas. But yeah, it was like you had 2 or 3 choices on the menu, but you were gonna get a buzz, but you were not gonna get shit hammered and throw up and cause danger to yourself or anyone else.
That's how I had to learn, and I didn't like it.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, they extremely good people. And I got my love of Warren Zevon from that family. I fucking still listen to Warren Zevon.
So, would you say, was it the family, the whole family that you started smoking, or was it the specific friend who was helping you at the time?
That one specific friend. He's still, like I said, the one in my Discord.
All right.
He's a good dude. I'll have you meet him one day, and he will underwhelm you in every possible way, because he will in no way represent all the years of experiences I have with him.
Oh yeah, no.
Let me give you just I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I'm going to give you the bullet points of the story so you can know what kind of guy this dude is. I had a pack of clove cigarettes, half smoked, and a pack of regular cigarettes, and about $30. And he had 4 hits of acid and a minivan that was almost out of gas. And he came up with an idea that we split this acid and then drive around the hood all night smoking cloves and listening to Black Flag turned all the way up. So there we are, 2 dumb kids on acid driving around the fucking ghetto listening to fucking Black Flag until that tape burned out. Then we put in the next tape.
Dude, I could not drive hallucinating.
Until we ended up at IHOP, like always, in the smoking section.
Why do you always go to IHOP? I'm just fucking around.
Because it had a smoking section and the coffee. Like when you buy coffee, you get unlimited coffee.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, smoking section, unlimited coffee, teenagers, drugs. Do the math.
Yeah, what else could you want?
You know what I mean? What were we going to do? Go get on the internet and listen to that? And download titties one line at a time?
It sucked. So going off of that, though,
until Diablo 1 came out, the internet was fucking downloading fucking fakes of Captain Janeway just so you could pretend it was her titties.
Diablo 1 and fucking, I gotta say, The Sims and StarCraft and Warcraft.
Yo, also shout out to my favorite chick from the 90s, Danny Ash. Got them big titties.
Everything's better at 4 a.m.
Years.
You're already deprived.
Those were my teen years.
So
she was on Howard Stern too, and she was great.
So with these influences, could you say that points, what points would you say helped or hindered during your process? Like, has it helped the whole time? Have you found points where you're like, oh, I think this is a problem and I need to like do it differently? Like, or do you just
like life?
Like how has smoking in general, like cannabis itself, how has it affected you, like, since you've been smoking? Like, has there been ups and downs?
You said something once on a stream that stuck with me, and I wanted to say something back to you without it being too For Yorkshireman. Do you know that bit?
I guess so, yeah. I mean,
you know, it's an old comedy bit called For Yorkshiremen. Have you ever heard it?
I thought you were saying it. No, tell me what it is. I might.
No,
I thought it was going to be this Yorkshire, this other thing that CJ.
It's real. No, like it's like Yorkshire.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Tell me the bit.
So the For Yorkshiremen it was black and white when I first saw it on PBS. A bunch of dudes you'd recognize in it too, like Graham Chapman and John Cleese, but it was not Monty Python. But it was like they're sitting around in a club all wearing suits and having drinks. Maybe pipes are being smoked.
All right.
But one of them says something, you know, like something for the price of a cup of tea. And then another one goes, cup of cold tea. And then another one goes, you had cups? And then like the next one, you know, like we didn't even have tea. And and it just keeps going. At one point it just keeps degrading, but each guy just keeps trying to outdo the next one in misery.
Yeah.
You know, until one of them was like, we lived in a rolled up newspaper.
You showed me that, because again, earlier, like I said, there was a Key and Peele skit where they did that, but they were doing it about fucking give me a fucking sorry. So like you said something once that stuck with me, but I didn't want to share my story with you immediately because I was like, it's gonna be Yorkshireman if I do that. It's rude because you just like you bared a part of yourself because you said something that kind of stuck with me, and I think it sticks with everybody about you. I think it's why you have the friends in the core audience that you do have here, and it's an important thing. Like it points out the sincerity of you as a human. You said that if your mouth was fucked up and you needed $1,000 for surgery, you'd check on your dog first. Yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker.
And like, so what has weed helped me with? It has helped me accept life's ass whoopings.
That can be a hard thing to accept.
Regret.
Yeah.
Cause I can look back I can look back at an extremely satisfying life without shame and with self-awareness. I can say maybe I should regret some things, but I just fucking don't.
I mean,
because I think everybody that's deserved an apology from me got it, and I think everybody that I deserved an apology from gave it to me. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of doubt, I don't give a fuck about yesterday or tomorrow or even 20 minutes from now anymore.
Right.
I am truly present.
And I was saying that the other day. It's good to be in the present.
I think the ass whoopings of life and knowing what you know, what a lot of people know, but I know you know because of when you said that. I have an intimate understanding of what it's like to not know where your next meal is going to come from. And I am still happier than people with 720 credit scores.
Yeah, right.
Because there's going to be another meal. You know, like there's this fucking song, dude, called More of Us by God Forbid. And he goes, ooh, what's your money gonna do? And I'm like, yeah, he's right.
It's like you're saying, though, the ass whoopings, because it's like, for people that have never had to deal with it, like, saying, like, for real, not knowing how you're gonna eat next sounds scary, right? But, like...
It sounds so scary, but I'm gonna play Red Dead 2.
But when you go through it, though, and you do get that next meal, or like let's say it's a year later or something, and you're it's a whole different life or whatever, or it's whatever, something's a little bit better. You can still really appreciate that for what it is, and be like, man, like,
bro, like, and another great way that I could put it to you is, this is America, and I've been living in abject poverty my whole life, and I mean, look at the chubby little cheeks. You just look at them. Look what America, like, that's what poverty gets you in America. As long as you got a roof over your head, I mean, fat and happy, bro.
We could talk about poor nutrition, but there is ways to get around it. And if you really are broke, you can dumpster dive for some really high quality shit, honestly.
Oh, no, so
I'm just saying.
We do it real smart. We get a lot of, like, just core important things.
I remember you saying, like, the beans.
Like
the dry beans.
It's not just that. It's like there's probably 20 pounds of dry beans in the fucking cabinet right now. But it's not just that. It's the fucking, if I want a sandwich, I make bread.
I got it ready to go.
But it's way better.
No, I was thinking about getting
cheese. It's gonna take an hour.
I was talking about this to Itchy the other day. I think I'm gonna try to bring bread boats back. I might get a bread machine because my oven just isn't the best, but a little bread machine and pop it in there.
What's your fucking oven heat up to?
My oven's broke. I ain't trying to fix it. That's why I said it ain't the best. I'm gonna get a little machine.
Okay.
I just don't feel like fixing it because I'm an asshole, and it's because of this dog. I hate getting any repairmen actually into my living space because this guy's a dick bag. And they're like, "Why? Like, crate him really quick." And I just hate it either way. Like, I will crate him. I'm just trying to avoid it. So I'm just, wait until I can save up and buy me a new one.
Oh, is he actually a mean motherfucker?
I mean, he's not mean. It's just like,
or is he just nosy?
He's very. It's his house, all right. Like, not like it's not our house or whatever, but it is our house. But like and how we live in the hood and shit. It's just how he grew up. But like, he'll come and like love on someone. He'll be really interested, but he's deaf. So he can't, like, it's just hard communicating with him, and then he gets really vocal.
So he's just in your face,
vocal. So, and what he'll do is start growling as soon as he's uncomfy. So that makes, when you have a fucking almost 200-pound dog fucking growling next to you, that usually makes other people uncomfy really quick. So it's like, I just try to avoid shit as much as I can. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to avoid it so we don't got to deal with your ass. Because I will crate him up, but I always feel bad because he's sitting there crying, and I'm a fucking sucker.
I'm a little bit shocked by the sincerity of this conversation. I'll be honest.
Right? Well, this is what I was hoping with. Like, I was like, we've talked about it before. Do what you know or whatever. And I'm just a dumb
I
stoner.
think it's because I'm feeling sentimental because I got weed from my mom.
I got mom weed today. It's a special one. See. But so with that, we've just talked about how fucking it could have helped or hardened your life. Because I've known people that weed turned out to not be for them. They've had terrible episodes and shit. And sure, I just gotta say, like, coming from these places, like, it can make you a bit more humble. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, boomer, whatever, millennials, bullshit. Because, like, I don't, like, if you're able to live through your time and, like, make it, especially when you start from, like, a struggle, I don't care who you are. Like, no one can take away from anyone else's struggle. We're all having a fucking human experience.
Statistically, the mere odds of you, like, not just any person, but you specifically, the fucking odds of you ever existing, coming into existence, are fucking astronomical. So whether you make it 20 years or 50 years or 80 years, or fuck, maybe you don't even make it through your 44th. At least you got here and got to see it. However miserable it may have been,
you had your experience.
You know, for whatever we are before or after, if there is any of that, like, we got this.
And that's
We're here for this. And it's been fucking amazing.
And I want to point out that that's also the friend that I've always been, though. Like, I'm sure everyone knows the guy out there. Like, come on, just try it, bro. I've always been that friend where if there's someone there that's like, I don't like doing this, I'm like, it's okay that they don't want to do this. More drugs for us, bro. But no, but I had a lot of friends who were just into, like, peer pressure and shit, or, like, easy to be peer pressured, and a lot of them, like,
it's not peer pressure, Elm. It's just your turn.
Honestly, shit that I've heard, but that's what I think it's really important to it, because some people don't want to accept some people, and like I could say like if I could sum up a regular quotations American really quick, what a world's view is. Imagine guy does work, likes football, drinks beer, and I don't do one of those three things, you know, then they probably won't like me. But
here's what it's all about. Just guys being dudes.
Yeah, just dudes being bros. But anyways, to continue digressing all the time, I haven't even
circles.
I haven't even focused on trying to stop clicking my tongue, so I just hope I've subconsciously stopped, but I doubt it. But finally, the last fucking question. If you could smoke or chill with anyone, and this is anyone throughout history, dead or alive, who would you choose to have a session with? And I'll just say that when I told this to Crow, he said Jim Morrison, and I said Prince Nobunaga, essentially the Japanese Hitler in a sense, which is a terrible take. Kind of, but it's just because I just love that culture and time. But because I'm a weird weeb, I'm a closet weeb, I guess. But we ended up deciding on Bob Marley. Bob Marley would be a very intellectual smoke and fun time, I think. But Necro, anyone on your end?
Mine has dreadlocks too.
Oh shit!
I was sitting there thinking about it the whole time you were queuing up. Like, you already let me know at the beginning there, and I raised my eyes, thinking. That's when I started thinking. And at first I was like William S. Burroughs. But I'm like, I can't hands down on that. I can't stop there. And I'm like, Henry David Thoreau. He's very important to me. But nope, I can't hands down on that. I'm stuck. And then it hit me.
Oh?
There's two songs that have been very important to me. Like, do you have, maybe somebody else has, but there's music, there's songs that are just important to you, like in a way that you can't explain. You can't tell the story. You can't put it into words.
It's spiritual.
There's songs that are just.
It's I hate to like say it or whatever, but I feel like there's music that's spiritual, where it takes over your whole feeling and it makes everything like okay at that moment.
Yeah. The two songs for me. If ever I would stop thinking about music and politics. And Everyone Deserves Music. Michael Franti. He started as a poet, turned into a rapper, and became a singer. And he's written some very powerful songs, and and some of them are in like gut churning, like tear jerking type songs. But the two that I just named, they're I mean, he's got a lot of good ones, but those two stick to my ribs like malto meal on a winter morning. Cream of wheat, maybe oatmeal. I don't know what your thing is, but that's those. Everyone Deserves Music is an important song to me. Even our worst enemies, Lord, they deserve music.
So that with, you know, your soft tacos or whatever, some nice gassy weed.
Some nice gassy weed, one cigarette, soft tacos, maybe a beer.
That would be stoner heaven for you.
Michael Franti having a conversation with me while we listen to Everyone Deserves Music. And I tell him this song is important to me and I can't explain to you why.
Well, I fucking love that shit. And I'm glad you sat down for this bullshit. I know it's odd when I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, I have a new idea for a podcast thing. Let me interview you. Because no,
it was good. I feel like I needed it.
It was, this is the new Stoner Circle therapy sessions. Review on cannabis.
Yeah, you should tag this shit mental health.
But yeah, so that was all of them, and then
that was cathartic. I feel like I can sigh eternally. Maybe I'll put on some Leonard Cohen after this. And they'll be like, maybe Boo and Zatran will get that reference.
Speaking of, we got to get some vintage story fucking tower done.
Like, here, let me impersonate Leonard Cohen with deadly accuracy, and this is one of his actual songs. Baby, I've been waiting for so long. He is so sleepy.
I was trying to tell you earlier with Boulder's Gate and shit. Like, sometimes if I'm not in the right mind frame, I'll start going to sleep with the storyline. I'm like, fuck. But yeah, anyways, thank you for this, Necro. Fucking, I don't know who I might do next. Maybe just anyone who's fucking interested in just being fucking doing this shit. So Boo, Zatran. And then
your grandma listened to it. She single?
Fucking in this day and age, bro, fucking, I don't care who you are. I might get into a relationship for money at this point. But
I just want to hang out with an old lady and drink tea and listen to Leonard Cohen.
Sounds like a great day. Bro, I miss my great grandma so much. I wish I could chill and just fucking sip tea and be like, what are you watching, grandma? And she'd probably be like, fucking walk a Texas Ranger. Or whatever. She wouldn't sound like that. She was from Ireland.
Walk a Texas Ranger. Oh my god.
No, my grandma, I can't even. I don't know. She sounded like a regular American grandma. Like, oh, would you like to sit down and watch Walker? Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. She was a good grandma, though. Taught me great stuff about soaps. No, I guess with Walker, Texas, my ma watched soaps. Days of Our Lives. My ma would watch Matlock and Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. Like sands through
why did I say it and I look over and you guys are already saying Matlock. Both the shit? Like
Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, Dr. Quinn. But
Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
But fucking Matlock and fucking Days of Our Lives.
Briscoe County Jr. Just gotta get one in there.
Anyways, I'm just gonna say fuck it and end it here because I'm gonna actually get off and just make some food. I don't know if I'll come back later. I might come back later and play Space Station with Itchy and them, but
oh yeah,
this was just strictly the Stoner Circle podcast, so I can't, I'm not just gonna keep questioning. And this motherfucker has to go outside.
Today's episode was brought to you by the letter M for marijuana
and Gamer Lube. We can't forget our special sponsors, Gamer Lube.
Are you still live? I'll do it.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right, here you go. That's right, gamers. If you want the edge in games, grease up those analog sticks with Gamer Lube. Gamer Lube, putting the anal in analog since 1979. Go to gamerlube.com/Elminster710 for 0% off your purchase.
That's I should just pull the regular podcasting at the end of the podcast. So what are you doing now, Necro? Anything you want to plug before we go? But I'm just, yeah. I'm just gonna bounce out, cook some shit. I might be back later. Necro, thank you.
Yeah, dude.
I'll turn this
Thank
off.
you.